would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
Jonathon Burges, 483043.
Okay, and is that a parole revocation questionnaire you're looking at?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page dated October 18th, 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you ready to proceed this morning? Without counsel. That says you're not eligible for appointed counsel. So you ready to proceed?
I don't need counsel. I don't need.
Okay. So I'll read the allegations against you and then we'll talk about, you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, ready?
All right.
So you're accused of violating condition number 4, and it states you were arrested on April 13th, 2023 by Livingston Parish and charged with resisting an officer in domestic abuse battery, first offense, household member. On November 9th, 2023, the count 1, which was the domestic abuse battery of the household member, was dismissed because your mother didn't appear in court. Count 2, resisting an officer, you entered a plea of no contest and the court accepted the plea and sentenced you to 30 days parish prison, credit for time served. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Okay, let's move to it says number 8, condition number 8. You were ordered to enroll in inpatient substance abuse treatment and you failed to do so. How do you plead to violating condition number 8?
Not guilty. When I tried to go, they wouldn't accept me because of insurance.
Wait. So you're pleading not guilty with a statement?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll take the statement in a minute. We just got to get through the pleas first. Next is condition number 9. You failed to reside at your residence of record in that you left your address of record and failed to notify your parole officer of your whereabouts. How do you plead to violating condition number 9?
Not guilty.
And then lastly, condition number 10, you failed to submit any payments toward your supervision fees since your release on good time parole supervision. How do you plead to violating number 10?
Not guilty.
Okay. All right. So you pled guilty in court in November to resisting an officer, right? Or you didn't plead guilty, you pled no contest. And you got a sentence of 30 days.
I'm not sure.
So condition number 4 is being involved in criminal activity. And so you pled guilty to violating condition number 4, which involved the domestic abuse allegation and this one that you just were found guilty and had received a sentence. Tell us about the domestic abuse charge.
I mean, there's really not that much to tell. My mother accused me of something I didn't do. I'm really not sure what she was doing that day, but I don't think she was in her right mind. All I did was go to the bedroom, shut the door, try to get away from her. I wouldn't talk to her, so she called the cops on me. Other than that, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I don't know.
Do you have a drug problem?
No, ma'am. No, I don't use. That's what I'm telling you. I don't use.
Your original charge was possession of meth, 2 counts, possession of a firearm and aggravated battery. Right? Yes or no?
I'm not sure.
You're on parole, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then as I look through the notes in your discussions with your parole officer since your release, let's see, you were released on good time in March of 2022. And then it looks like in June of 2022, there was some discussion about you going to Edgeville Recovery Center. Why were you going to go there if you don't have a drug problem?
Okay, the parole officer wanted me to go to a sober house because my address was kind of messed up. Me and my mother wasn't getting along at the time. And when I tried to go, they wouldn't take me because of my Medicaid. I didn't have Medicaid. So I was working on trying to get that. Then
yeah, well, okay, I see that. I see that you have, and then you and your family, I think, have a positive COVID test or something. Then you were going to go to the refinery, and then you were arrested in September for unauthorized use of a movable, which was, I believe, your mother's. Then Later in September, you started setting fires around the house, where your parents lived. So what was going on with that?
I couldn't tell you. I had no idea. I ain't never known nothing about that. I never set no fire by no house. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, then you were, let's see, you were trying to get in treatment or sober living when you were released from Livingston in February of 2023. And March, you still weren't in treatment. Then you had this arrest for the domestic abuse in April of 2023. There's some indication that you have a serious drug problem. And you say you don't?
I don't have no serious drug problem, no ma'am. I'm clean. My plans when I get out there, try to get out there, get me a job, maybe try to find me a sober living, somewhere where I can have some structure to go to, because staying at my mama's apparently is somewhere I need to be full term at. So I would like to try to find me somewhere where I can have a transportation.
So listen, when you got out in March, did you get a job?
I didn't have a chance to. That's what I was trying to tell you. I wound up back in here and I never had a chance to do it.
How long you been in jail?
Almost a year.
You've been in jail since April of 2023. You got out on good time in March of 2022. Did you get a job in 2022?
I temporarily worked, yes, ma'am. I temporarily worked, then I didn't have transportation. That job didn't use me anymore. I didn't have transportation, so that was my reason for not having a job.
Where did you work?
I was working with my daddy temporary, and he didn't have that much work for me to do. It was just a
What
bad.
kind of work was it?
It was doing machine work, building like race car motors and stuff like that.
Machine work, you say?
Yes, ma'am.
How long were you in jail before you got out on good time?
Maybe 3 years.
You take any programs?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Where were you? Where'd you release from?
Concordia Parish.
And was there any programs there for you?
Completed them.
What?
Hang on, what was it? Parenting and a substance abuse class I did.
When's the last time you had a drug test screened?
Years ago. It's been a long time. I don't use, that's what I'm telling you, I'm clean. So,
You know, you don't do real well on supervision. You're a fourth felony offender. You've been revoked at least 4 times. You've absconded, and you just wind up back in jail every time. Why is that?
I'm not sure. You really see.
You haven't given that any thought?
I think I just need to go to sober living or something to do some structured living, have a little bit more structure where I can have,
How did you say you don't do drugs? You used to do drugs. How did you address your drug addiction? You haven't, have you?
I haven't. Well, I don't know.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. I don't know. Sergeant Gomez, do you know this young man?
Only from coming in and out the facility at some point, different points in my career.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate you setting us up today.
No problem. And he's not a disciplinary issue here either, because I do all disciplinary for the facility.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you. He does good with structure, as he says. All right, Mr. Burgess, I don't see any other questions, so we're going to be voting. Is there anything you want to say to us before we vote?
I just ask y'all to just give me a chance to get out there and try to get myself together. I'm gonna find, it's my word, I'm gonna find somewhere where I can get transportation, find me a job and get around more positive people, because if it ain't positive, I don't want nobody around me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm done with being around all the foolishness. I'm trying to make a better person out of myself. Other than that, that's it.
Good to hear. It's good to hear. I do think you need some help, though. I don't, based on your record at least, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but when I look at your record, there's no real evidence that's gonna happen for you. I think you need some help. My vote today is gonna be based on the history, based on, I find you guilty of violating the conditions of your parole. So my vote today is gonna be to revoke your parole, and I'm gonna make a recommendation to the DOC that you be afforded work release opportunity. Have you ever asked for that? Are you a habitual offender? No?
I have it no mail.
You know, that would help you out some to get you a little better prepared, so you have a little money when you get out, and maybe you can keep a job, that kind of thing. But, you know, that's my vote today. Mr. Roche.
Madam Chairman, I'll find him guilty of violating all of the conditions of his parole supervision contract. Therefore, I'm revoking his supervision.
Mrs. Jackson.
The same, find him guilty and revoke the supervision.
All right, Mr. Burgess, you've got some work to do. Good luck to you, sir.